Okay, what's going on everybody, and welcome to my review, but not review, of Tormented Souls 2. Yeah, it's not really a review. I'm not really the review type. I pretty much just like to give my thoughts on games, so that's what I'm going to be doing with this game right here, Tormented Souls 2. So I just got done playing this. I finished the game not too long ago. I guess I'll just say it straight up, but this is a great game. I would highly recommend playing it if you're a fan of survival horror. It's definitely worth getting day one. $25 or something this game. Absolute steal right there, especially when you got, shitty ass AAA horror games, quote unquote horror games for $70 that don't even have like a fucking smidge of the survival horror quality that this game has. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not a perfect game, but then again, did anybody expect a perfect game? If you expected a perfect game, then your expectations are just unrealistic. But if we're talking like modern survival horror and just the absolute state of it, shitty fucking remakes, first person running away hiding simulators, all the indie horror garbage with those types of first-person games, and just so many shitty horror games out there. It's so hard to find actual good horror games. This is a fantastic game. I do think that this game overall is a better game than the first, but I do think that the first does do some things a little bit better. I do think that the first game had a better soundtrack. The second game does have a good soundtrack, the music does fit the vibe, but I think that the first game just had more standout tracks. This game does have a couple. I really like the save room music. You've always got to have some good save room music to, make you feel relieved when you hear it when entering that room. Also, I think the first game might have been a bit scarier. This game, though, definitely has its moments. I don't want to spoil the game, hence why I'm not showing any gameplay, but this is definitely a pretty creepy game. It's got some good moments. Obviously, it's not gonna make you absolutely shit yourself. That's just not how horror games work when you're an adult. Like, we can all think of those fond memories of playing like Silent Hill and the old school Resident Evil games as kids and them being absolutely terrifying, but that's because we were kids. It was easier to scare us back then. I'm pretty sure that if you played this game as a kid, it would fucking terrify you too. But you gotta think about it more realistically as an adult. A horror game is never gonna scare you, but without a doubt, it's a horror game. It's got good atmosphere, it's got good monsters, it's got creepy shit in there. So getting on to improvements from the first game, it's actually pretty funny because a lot of the things that I said could have been improved in the first game, which I believe I mentioned in my video. It's been a long time since I made that, so maybe I didn't mention all of them, but pretty much every complaint, I guess, I had with the first game that I thought could have been better has been pretty much improved in this game. Like a few things being, there's actually difficulties in this game. That was something that I felt the first game needed, because the first game was just really easy. It gave you a lot of ammo, a lot of health, so I felt like it needed a hard difficulty, and this game has that, so that was one thing right off the bat. It also added a option to make the stick, the tank controls. First game didn't have that. If you wanted to use tank controls, you had to use the D-pad, which I'm not a big fan of. I prefer to use the stick. And I did use tank controls in this game, because that's how you should play a game like this. I know that 97% of people playing this game will use the other controls, but if you're gonna play this game, I would recommend playing with the tank controls, because that's what it's designed for when it comes to a fixed camera game. It works much better, a lot more smoother, and contrary to what fucking people say, there is nothing wrong with tank controls. So use the tank controls, don't be a fucking casual, complain about that shit. There is nothing wrong with them. They might take a little bit getting used to, but if you can tie your shoelaces, then you can learn to use tank controls. Something else that's been improved is the enemy variety and the boss variety. The first game didn't have that many enemies, and it sure as hell didn't have a lot of bosses, because it only had one boss, and that was it, the final boss. This game has a lot more enemies, and way more bosses. You've got about 5 or 6 bosses in this game, so that's a great improvement right there. That is something that I wanted to see. You've also got a lot more weapons. First game, only 3 weapons, which was pretty pathetic, I'm not gonna lie. Only having 3 weapons is pretty unacceptable. But this game, not the case at all. You've got 10 weapons in this game. So plenty of weapons, good enemy variety, and a good amount of bosses. Major improvements in that department. Also, the environments are fantastic. It's been a while since I've played the first, but I believe there was only about 3 or 4 different areas. But this game's got plenty of environments, and they're all great. They really fit with the horror tone, cooler areas that I won't spoil, okay? Because I really don't want to spoil this game, because you should experience it for yourself. So don't look up any videos, any walkthroughs. Don't use a guide, okay? Play this as it's intended. No spoilers, no guides, and get that full survival horror experience. And visually, the environments are fucking amazing. You combine the amazing fixed camera with the awesome environments, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's probably the best thing about the game. It's pretty much what you would hope for with a new school, old school survival horror game. Anyone that loves the visuals and graphics in Resident Evil 1 Remake as much as I do will really like these graphics. They are very similar. The puzzles are really good too. No shitty easy baby puzzles that you'd see in a regular horror game. Actual good puzzles that require some thinking. You have to actually use your brain to solve these puzzles, and there's plenty of them too. The story and characters, I'm not really the biggest story guy, but it is something that I do like to actually pay attention to when I'm playing a horror game, and I did that with the first game. I do actually like the story in the first game. I think it's good in this game too. From memory, I probably did like the first game a little bit more, but you know, I enjoyed it, even though it's not really something that I care about too much. There's plenty of notes to read. I definitely didn't understand everything. It can be quite confusing like most horror games, but I do think that the story is enjoyable. Some of the notes were pretty cool. There was a boss in this one area where a lot of the lore was explained through the notes, and it was pretty cool to read those. The level design is also really good. Plenty of interconnecting paths, shortcuts, exploration, puzzles to solve. Another fucking good ass thing about this game, it's just a really good horror game. It pretty much nails everything that makes a old school survival horror game great. I guess one thing that I was kind of disappointed by with this game is that there's no new mechanics with how the game plays. It basically plays the exact same way as the first game, which, yeah, a little bit disappointed with that. I would have liked to have seen a couple of new mechanics with how the game plays, like, maybe a status effect or something, or, I don't know, some sort of new mechanic that changes how the game plays. Maybe one thing they could have done was actually utilize the darkness mechanic a little bit more, with having sections that have enemies spawn and you can't fight them because otherwise the darkness kills you. They do have one section, but it's a very brief section, and I thought it was quite cool. It's intense, because you've got enemies chasing you and you can't fight them. I think as long as you don't make it annoying and don't overdo it, that could have been something that could have really added to one of the areas. It could have made the area feel more unique, and also mix up the gameplay a little bit and add to the horror. But overall, it's a fantastic game, so I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you all in the next one, and have a great day! Sayonara, people! Peace the fuck out, and fuck Resident Evil 9. Take care.